Hey guys, I'd like to talk about something that I find super fascinating, and that's the progression of technology. I am 26 years old, and I remember we had like Nokias where you have a green screen, a green backlit screen with black text, and that was basically the peak of technology. And we also had things like no internet, or we didn't have things like internet, so we had to use stuff like encyclopedias to find images, to find resources. Now I can literally just take my computer, take a screenshot, print this thing on a piece of paper, and boom, done and dusted. Whereas back in the day, I would have to take a magazine and cut out a whole bunch of different pictures and then hopefully put together a um, report or put together some type of collage of information that I've collected about something, and that would be my evidence. And now people can just go, okay, cool, Control C, Control V, paste, and then there is a nice little link as to where you found your information. Or maybe you go and you find a specific location as a reference. But that's a lot easier than having to dig through multiple encyclopedias. Hopefully, that place that you go to, the library, has got the book that you need. And now there is a 3D scene running, and I can seemingly just change what these materials look like. And I can just Google whatever image of whatever looks like, and I can just apply that to my chairs. And if I can't Google that image, I can just go in and I can use something like Substance Painter or Substance Designer and create materials from scratch. Or I can take my camera and take a picture of my friend's art and bring it into the software, and I can see it in all of its glory in a space where I think that this art might even look quite decent. And in this case over here, this is just some things that I find so mind blowing. This would have taken ages to render in any traditional rendering software. But now, thanks to the advent of technology and thanks to the advent of, I guess, people pushing for graphical technology and people's individual backgrounds coming together in programming, in art, in mathematics, the whole shebang, trying to figure out how we can optimize the world that we live in so that we can create spaces and interesting places in digital worlds so that we can improve the actual physical spaces that we live in. And the thing that people don't realize is most of the stuff that exists in the real world has to first be designed on a computer and then it's manufactured on machinery. And in this case over here, that's with at least most of the modern world. Some things were drawn by hand, which I have the most respect for. Imagine being an architect and sitting down for months and trying to draw a building, ensuring that you don't mess up your lines. And it's on you if that line is skewed and that building collapses onto so many civilians. And you have to ensure that your calculations are on point. And that's insane because now we use computer programs and algorithms to figure these things out, and it's kind of offloading the mental weight of that. And we also do various calculations as well to ensure that what the computers say is true. But what happens in a world where everything around us can be manipulated? Like you put on a set of VR glasses or AR glasses, augmented reality, and everything that you look at is completely changed. It's warped. Maybe you don't like a certain color in a room, so then your glasses just negate those colors, or they change them to something else that's more pleasant to you. So you can just change the theme of the world around you. And that's like Black Mirror type technology, but that's where we're going, right? Where any object, like for example, I remember when we had video games, The Sims didn't wasn't the most highest fidelity thing that you could ever see. But when I looked at those little people having their lives exist on my computer, I had to question myself and ask, like, whoa, what happens if I'm a little sim and someone else is controlling me? These are things I have to take into consideration. And that's just something I find super fascinating. But now we get to the point at which it's possible for us to have like social statistics, social points, like you see happening in China. And it's quite interesting where it's like, how do you go? Do you take your privacy and do you say that, hey, listen, okay, Google, you can take all my information. Apple, you can take everything. I trust you to hold it for me. You have the keys to the fortress. All the banking details, all the passwords, all everything just gets offloaded to other people. And you just have faith that things will be fine. And that's just super mind blowing, right? And now we having to get to a point as humanity where we're looking at brain machine interfaces, where we're looking at artificial intelligence to accelerate our everyday workflows. Because we use AI every day, anyways. I mean, when you use Google, you use Facebook, you use Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp. Okay, maybe not WhatsApp. WhatsApp's probably the exception. But maybe on the back end, there's some tools that help them with whatever they need help with those databases. But it's just things that we need to take into consideration. And these algorithms are affecting our daily lives. They affect where you're allowed to effectively go on the internet. Because if certain information is restricted, you can't access that information if the algorithm just won't even show you where it is. It just becomes an impossibility. So companies can now filter out what information you can and cannot see based off of its benefit to society. And that's just very bizarre. It's a very bizarre place to find yourself. But again, I guess that's another argument or another question for a different day. But yeah, just some really bizarre things happening in the world. Some really interesting things happening. And I just think, even as humanity, I don't think we've had enough time to sit back and just adjust to all the changes. I don't think we've had enough time to actually fully digest what's happening. We have people who are worth $200 billion, $300 billion. Can we even fathom what that actually means? We have companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon worth trillions. And if you account their data that they have on people, they're probably worth even more than that. If you account for the amount of stock that these companies can hold and move in between businesses, many, 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 many businesses across the United States of America. And then if you think about the entire world economy and how big that is, it's unfathomable. It's just so much data, there's so much information that exists out there. But now the problem is, it's like the person who's able to master all this information flow is going to become the granddaddy, effectively, of the whole show. If you can develop some type of tool that can allow people to sift through all this data, not just sift through Google and the internet and find information, but if you're able to sift through maybe surveillance footage, maybe you're able to sift through information about how governments and private individuals and private companies function alongside one another, then you're able to create something interesting.